Every small comment, every minor setback, if it all gets under your skin, you're surrendering your power. The reality is the most composed people don't face fewer challenges. They've simply mastered their responses. Imagine moving through life unshaken. No more excessive thinking. No more emotional reactions. Just total control. In this video, I'll show you how to condition your mind to act as though nothing affects you, so you stop feeling controlled by your emotions and start commanding them instead. Because once you develop this ability, nothing and no one will ever have power over you again. And developing the unshakable mindset, life is full of noise, people's judgments, daily annoyances, unexpected obstacles. The world is relentless in its capacity to present distractions, criticisms, and barriers in your way. But what if I told you that genuine strength comes from developing the art of detachment? Imagine walking through a storm without reacting, without losing your composure. This is what it means to act as though nothing affects you, the secret: learning to separate your emotions from outside circumstances. When you let external events control your mood, you become controlled by forces beyond your reach. But when you condition your mind to stay unmoved, you become the architect of your destiny. The world respects those who stay calm in chaos, who don't break under pressure. When you adopt this mindset, you project authority without uttering a word. You navigate life with power, with presence, with unbreakable confidence. Think of the most impactful individuals in history. They were not those who responded impulsively to every insult, every criticism. Instead, they operated with an air of control, as if they understood something the rest of the world did not. Their strength was not in their capacity to argue or retaliate, but in their capacity to stay unaffected. This is the genuine power of detachment. Consider the philosophy found in self-development and achievement literature. The most valuable lesson is that thinking precedes behavior. What you focus on, you become. If you constantly respond emotionally to the world, you surrender your power. But if you develop a steady mindset, the world adjusts to your will. Those who accomplish remarkable things in life grasp this principle. Master the mind and you master your reality. Imagine a situation where someone disrespects you in public. The typical response for most is anger, confrontation, or self-defense. But what occurs when you simply acknowledge and move on? You strip the instigator of their power. They anticipated a reaction, and when they don't receive it, they are left confused. You, on the other hand, move forward stronger, untouched, victorious. This is the quiet dominance that few grasp, but all respect. The same holds true for failures and obstacles. When confronted with rejection or defeat, most people let their emotions dominate. They drown in Bunude. Hemkinian 2257. Disappointment, losing days, weeks, or even months, dwelling over what went wrong. But those who grasp the power of detachment see failure as nothing more than information, a learning opportunity, an adjustment, a stepping stone. They do not take failure personally. They observe, adapt, and progress. How do you develop this level of mastery? It starts with conditioning your mind daily practice, the habit of pausing before responding. Ask yourself, does this situation genuinely impact my long-term objectives? Is my response necessary, or am I surrendering my power? By consistently choosing non-response, you build a shield that protects you from the trivialities of life. Another essential element is visualization. See yourself as someone who navigates life unaffected. Picture a version of yourself who does not react to insults, who does not break under pressure. When you reinforce this image in your mind, it becomes your reality. The mind is powerful, and what you repeatedly visualize, you embody. Let people wonder why you're not disturbed. Let them question how you stay composed, because when you demonstrate that nothing affects you, you control the game. You become an enigma, someone people admire but can never quite understand. And in that mystery lies your strength. Genuine power is not about domination or aggression. It is about presence. A presence so strong that it doesn't need to validate itself. A presence that commands respect through silence, through an steady state of mind. Master this, and you master life. To stay composed, think about the strongest people you know. They don't respond impulsively. They don't let emotions control their actions. They pause, they evaluate, they respond with intention. This is not because they lack emotions, but because they have commanded them. Emotional detachment isn't about hiding feelings, it's about directing them. Picture this: you're in a heated argument, and the other person is trying to provoke you. Do you respond? Do you let their words influence your emotions, or do you smile, unaffected, knowing their words hold no significance unless you give them power? Null detachment is about refusing to surrender your peace to outside forces. It's about understanding that your inner world is sacred, protected. When you embrace this approach, stress diminishes, clarity increases, and life's challenges become mere puzzles to solve, not battles to fight. Think of the principle that thoughts create reality. What you focus on, you attract. When you allow outside events to control your state of mind, you become a servant to circumstances. But when you take command of your thoughts and emotions, you become the designer of your own fate. Consider the story of a man who lost everything. His business failed, his investments collapsed, and he was left with nothing. Most would sink in despair, but not him. Instead, he viewed the failure as a lesson, not a tragedy. He understood that his mind was his greatest resource, and no external loss could take that away. With this mindset, he rebuilt everything stronger than before. This is the power of detachment. When you stop identifying with failures or obstacles, you free yourself to rise above them. A major reason people fail to reach their goals is emotional turbulence. They let fear, doubt, and frustration control them. They begin with ambition, but give up the moment challenges emerge. But those who master detachment understand that emotions are just temporary sensations. They don't allow passing feelings to derail long-term objectives. They persist because they have conditioned their minds to see obstacles as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. Training yourself to be emotionally detached does not mean you become cold or indifferent. It means you no longer allow outside forces to control your internal state. You can experience joy, sadness, and excitement, but you remain in command. Your emotions serve you, not the other way around. To develop this mindset practice, stepping back in emotionally charged situations, the next time someone insults you, pause instead of responding. Observe your feelings. Ask yourself, does this impact my life in any meaningful way? More often than not, the answer is no. By choosing not to respond, you take away their power over you. Detachment also comes from having a clear purpose. When you have a strong vision, petty distractions no longer disturb you. Your focus becomes solid because you understand that your energy is too valuable to waste on things that don't serve you. The world belongs to those who master themselves. The more you develop emotional control, the more unstoppable you become. While others panic, you remain calm. While others respond, you act, and in doing so, you gain an advantage that few ever will. Genuine strength is not about physical dominance or loud displays of power. It's about having a steady presence, one that commands respect without demanding it. When you master the art of emotional detachment, you don't just navigate life, you command it. 3. Mindful indifference is a superpower. We're conditioned to believe we must care about everything: people's opinions, their validation, their judgments. Society teaches us that our worth is measured by how much we invest in the thoughts and expectations of others. But genuine freedom, it comes when you realize that most things simply don't matter. The next time you find yourself overthinking, ask, will this matter in 5 years? If not, release it. Most of what troubles us, criticism, temporary obstacles, fleeting embarrassments, becomes insignificant with time. Yet we allow them to consume our thoughts, control our emotions, and dictate our actions. This is why developing indifference is the key to reclaiming your power. Indifference doesn't mean apathy, it means prioritization. It means recognizing that your energy is limited and choosing to invest it in what genuinely deserves your attention. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every opinion is worth considering. When you stop responding to every minor inconvenience, you regain control. You shift from being emotionally reactive to being strategically responsive. And that shift, it transforms everything. Think of the people you admire most. They aren't the ones desperately seeking approval or responding emotionally to every challenge. They are the ones who stand firm, unshaken by the noise of the world. They know who they are, and because of that, they cannot be easily manipulated or influenced. When you embrace this mindset, something remarkable happens. People start to respect you more, not because you seek their validation, but because they see you as someone who cannot be moved in a world where most are desperate to fit in, to be liked, to conform. The one who stands firm in their own self-worth holds the genuine power. Consider a scenario where someone criticizes you unfairly. The weak-minded immediately respond, defending themselves, over-explaining, or retaliating. The strong, however, remain calm. They understand that words only have power if they allow them to. By not responding, they maintain control, not just of the situation, but of themselves, and that self-respect. It commands more respect than any outburst ever. Could the same principle applies to achievement? Those who reach greatness are not those who waste their energy on trivial concerns. They are laser-focused on their objectives, refusing to be distracted by petty dramas or external judgments. They operate with clarity, knowing that every moment spent worrying about irrelevant things is a moment stolen from their progress. So, how do you develop this level of indifference? Start by evaluating your responses. The next time you feel anger, frustration, or anxiety rising over something minor, pause, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? More often than not, the answer will be no. Train yourself to release what does not serve you. Another powerful practice is setting clear priorities. Define what genuinely matters in your life: your purpose, your growth, your peace of mind. When you have a strong foundation of self-worth, the opinions and judgments of others lose their grip on you. You become untouchable, not because you don't care about anything, but because you care deeply about the right things. This is the secret that most never realize. Genuine power lies not in seeking approval, but in being unmoved by rejection. It is found in the ability to walk away from what drains you, to rise above petty conflicts, and to remain focused in a world full of distraction. In the end, it is not about caring less. It is about caring wisely. It is about choosing where to direct your energy and refusing to waste it on what does not deserve your attention. Because when you master the art of indifference, you don't just survive, you thrive. And in a world where everyone is overly concerned with pleasing others, the one who stands firm in their own self-worth will always rise above the rest. Or stop seeking approval. Seeking approval is a trap. It places your happiness in the hands of others, making you dependent on their validation. The reality: no one's opinion of you should outweigh your own. The moment you give someone else the power to define your worth, you lose control over your own life. Genuine confidence isn't given. It's built through self-reliance, through knowing that you don't need anyone's permission to be yourself. Think about the most magnetic individuals you've ever encountered. They don't beg for approval. They don't shrink themselves to fit in. They own who they are, flaws and all, and that's what makes them powerful. It lies in their steady sense of self. While others chase validation, they walk their own path unapologetically and with purpose. The need for approval is rooted in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of standing alone. But here's the truth: the more you seek approval, the more you surrender your power. You become a prisoner of expectations, bending and twisting yourself to fit into molds designed by others, and in doing so, you betray yourself. Freedom comes when you release the need to be liked by everyone. It's an illusion to think that universal approval is even possible. No matter what you do, someone will always have something to say. Some will admire you, others will criticize you, and many won't care at all. So why waste your energy trying to please everyone? If you want to break free from the approval trap, start by asking yourself, whose opinion genuinely matters more often than not? The loudest voices are from those who do not walk your path, who do not understand your journey. Their words carry no real weight unless you allow them to. Another crucial step is learning to validate yourself. Acknowledge your own progress. Celebrate your wins, big or small. When you start recognizing your own worth, external approval becomes irrelevant. You no longer need applause to feel worthy. You simply know you are. The moment you stop seeking validation is the moment you start living freely. You no longer filter your words, your actions, or your dreams through the lens of others' expectations. You move through life with authenticity, with boldness, with a sense of purpose that cannot be shaken. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will support you. And that's okay. The ones who matter will respect you. Not because you seek their approval, but because you don't need it. So choose yourself. Stand firm in your beliefs, in your values, in your vision. Let go of the need for external validation and embrace the power of self-acceptance. Because once you do, you become untouchable, not because you have everyone's approval, but because you no longer require it. 5. Handle criticism. Criticism is inevitable, but how you handle it defines your strength. Most people crumble at the first sign of disapproval. They take every comment to heart, allowing it to shape their self-identity, dictate their actions, and weaken their resolve. But criticism is nothing more than words, opinions, and perspectives that often come from those who don't even understand your journey. The reality is that criticism only has as much power as you give it. When you respond emotionally, you let it control you. When you filter it through logic, you remain in control. The stronger seed individuals don't let criticism shake them. They assess it with a clear mind, take what's useful, and discard the rest. There are two types of criticism: constructive and destructive. Constructive criticism is valuable. It helps you improve. It comes from people who have experience, knowledge, and a genuine desire to see you grow. Destructive criticism, however, is designed to break you down. It often stems from jealousy, insecurity, or lack of understanding. These opinions are meaningless unless you make the mistake of internalizing them. When someone criticizes you, ask yourself, does this person have the experience or credibility to judge me? If they do, consider their words. If they don't, move on. Not all voices deserve your attention. Criticism is a test of emotional resilience. Weak-minded individuals respond impulsively. They get defensive, argue, or retreat into self-doubt. The strong remain unmoved. They acknowledge criticism, process it, but never let it disrupt their inner peace. When you respond to criticism with calm indifference, you show the world that your confidence is unshakable. The world will always have something to say. Some will praise you, others will doubt you. But in the end, the only opinion that genuinely matters is your own genuine power lies in the ability to hear criticism, evaluate it rationally, and move forward without losing focus. 6. Keep your composure under pressure. Pressure exposes people. Some break, some fold, but the strong, they remain unshaken. Why? Because they prepare their minds before the storm arrives. They understand that pressure is not an anomaly. It is a certainty. And when you expect challenges, you stop being surprised by them. The secret is to detach from the need for control. Not everything will go according to plan. People will disappoint you. Obstacles will appear unexpected. Setbacks will come, but you do not respond emotionally. You respond with strategy, with calm calculation. Most people crack under pressure because they resist reality. They expect everything to be smooth, predictable, and within their grasp. And when life proves otherwise, they panic, they complain, they freeze. But those who train themselves to embrace uncertainty, they adapt, they move with the chaos, not against it. The reality of conflict. He does not waste energy wishing for ease. Instead, he focuses on execution. You must adopt the same mindset. The world will test you. It will throw stress, failure, and doubt your way. But if you have trained yourself to be composed under pressure, nothing will shake you while others scramble in panic. You will move with precision. You will not react. You will respond. There is power in mastering control, not over external events, but over yourself. When you no longer need things to go perfectly, you become unstoppable. Think of the greatest leaders, the most unshakable individuals. They do not flinch in chaos. They do not crumble when things go wrong. Instead, they exude calmness, certainty, and control. This is what makes them stand out. People wonder, how does nothing faze them? How do they stay so composed while others fall apart? It is because they have trained their minds to expect difficulty. They understand that emotions cloud judgment, and so they detach from unnecessary feelings. They prioritize logic over panic. To build this level of control, start by shifting your perspective on pressure. See it as a test of your discipline when faced with stress. Challenge yourself to remain composed. Observe your emotions without letting them dictate your action. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Another essential practice is preparation. The strongest individuals do not wait for pressure to arrive. They train for it mentally. Rehearse worst-case scenarios. Condition your mind to remain steady under stress. When you do this, nothing catches you off guard. 7. Letting go of what you can't control. Suffering often comes from attachment to outcomes, to expectations, to things outside of our control. We grip tightly to what we think should happen, and when reality doesn't align with our desires, we feel pain. But true mental strength lies in letting go. Picture a river. Water flows around obstacles, never resisting, never fighting. It adapts. That's how you must approach life. Some things will happen regardless of how much you stress over them. You can either resist and suffer, or you can adapt and move forward. Letting go is not about giving up. It is about shifting your focus to what you can control. Strength comes from being adaptable. When you detach from rigid expectations, you develop a resilience that makes you unstoppable. No event, no disappointment, no setback can break you. The key to letting go is awareness. The next time you find yourself holding on to something too tightly, pause, ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, release it. Do not waste your energy on what you cannot change. Some may mistake detachment for indifference, but they are not the same. Detachment is a deep understanding that while you can participate in life fully, you do not have to be ruled by its uncertainties. You can care deeply about your goals, relationships, and experiences, but you do not have to suffer when things do not go as expected. The moment you choose to let go of what you can't control, you walk through life with a sense of peace that others admire but cannot understand. 8. Silence is the ultimate power. Move in a world obsessed with noise. Silence is a weapon. Most people talk to fill space, to gain validation, to prove something. But the most powerful individuals, they don't speak unnecessarily. They listen, they observe, they calculate, and when they finally speak, every word carries weight. Silence makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to second-guess themselves in a conversation. The one who speaks less holds more control. Words reveal, but silence conceals. Imagine being in a negotiation. The person across from you presents an offer and expects an immediate response. But instead of reacting, you pause. You let silence stretch. The longer you wait, the more unsettled they become. They start second-guessing. They fill the silence with better terms. Why? Because silence creates tension, and tension creates leverage. The same principle applies in everyday interactions. The next time someone insults you, stay silent when you give them nothing. They lose power over you. Silence is also a tool for observation. When you talk less, you notice more. You see the hesitation in someone's voice, the contradiction in their words. Most people miss these cues because they're too busy speaking. But when you master silence, you become a strategist. You gather information while revealing nothing in return. If you want to cultivate power through silence, start practicing restraint. Pause before speaking. Observe the room. Listen more than you talk. The less you say, the more people will lean in when you finally speak. 9. Train yourself to stay calm no matter what. Your mind is your battlefield. The thoughts you allow in will determine whether you win or lose. The strongest individuals are not those who never experience negative thoughts, but those who refuse to be controlled by them. To train an unshakable mind, You must build mental habits, gratitude to counter negativity, discipline to override laziness, detachment to eliminate suffering just as the body grows stronger through repeated resistance. The mind becomes resilient. Through daily training, mental strength is built in the small everyday moments. It is in waking up early when you'd rather sleep. It is in choosing to stay silent when you could argue. It is in pushing forward when everything in you wants to quit. The mind, like a muscle, grows through resistance. Every challenge is an opportunity to strengthen it. One of the most powerful mental habits you can develop is detachment. When you learn to separate yourself from emotions, from outcomes, from external chaos, you gain an advantage over those who are constantly reacting. Another crucial element of mental training is discipline. The mind will always seek comfort, ease, and the path of least resistance. But discipline rewires the mind. When you consistently choose discipline over comfort, you reshape yourself into someone who is unstoppable. Start small. Commit to habits that reinforce your mental strength. Meditate to sharpen your focus. Exercise to reinforce discipline. Over time, these small acts build into something powerful, an unshakable mind. 10. Mastering the art of moving in silence. Real power moves in silence. It doesn't seek attention. It doesn't need validation. It simply acts and lets the results speak for themselves. The loudest people in the room are often the weakest. They crave recognition. They announce their intentions. But the strongest, they move quietly, strategically, with precision. If you want to be respected, stop announcing your plans. Stop explaining yourself to everyone. Just do the work. Success is not built through words. It is built through action. The more you talk, the more you invite scrutiny, doubt, and resistance. But when you work in silence, no one sees you coming. And by the time they notice, it's too late. The strongest individuals don't waste energy proving themselves. They let their success talking. They don't argue. They don't seek to impress. They move with certainty, and that certainty commands respect. There's a reason why the most influential figures in history were not the ones constantly talking about their next move. They understood that power is not in promises. It is in execution. They simply built, created, and dominated in silence. If you want to master this, develop the discipline to keep your ambitions private. Work relentlessly, but do not seek applause. Let people wonder about your next move. The less they know, the more control you have. Silence is not passive. It is strategy. When you do speak, your words carry weight. People listen not because you demand attention, but because they know you don't waste words. In a world where everyone is desperate to be noticed, be the one who doesn't seek recognition while others chase attention. You chase mastery. This is the difference between those who talk about doing great things and those who actually do them. If you feel the urge to explain your plans, resist it. Let your results do the talking.